It's Dusi time again, and a record number of paddlers have entered for this year's event. They've come from all over South Africa to accept the challenge of this three-day race from Pietermaritzburg to the Blue Lagoon in Durban. This year's event has seen some changes. New rules, new faces, new problems to negotiate. Change is also marked by the status of women in the race. 4 years ago, they were allowed to enter with a male partner in a double kayak, but this year marks the admission of solo women paddlers, provided they are accompanied by a male in another canoe. Graham Pope Ellis, having won the race 11 times in 13 years, starts as undisputed favourite.
With these low river conditions, it's not going to make life easy for singles, let alone the poor doubles. Those are the people that I really feel sorry for. And of course, with this level, it puts Danny at a terrific advantage. He's lighter in weight, he's done a lot more paddling, and he's running exceptionally well, so I'm looking forward to it.
The most serious challenge is again expected from Danny Biggs, already a winner in 1982 with his brother Tim, and several times a serious contender in both the Comrades Marathon and the Dusi. The low water favours his running ability and his light frame.
The river is very low, and you might think that's the reason, but I'm actually a bit disappointed because I had done a lot of paddling this year and the river is so low. A lot of guys are going to take such strain, and this is going to detract from the overall enjoyment of the race, I feel.
Mike Tocknell and Keith Elliker are among the favourites in the doubles. Challengers include Brian Fowles and Bruce Wenker. Andre and Daphne Harden have won the mixed doubles since the category was first introduced 4 years ago. Seeded entrants start at 7:30 in 2 ranks of 12 boats each, followed by batches of 100 at 10-minute intervals. Already the sun is high, and the competitors and their supporters know that it's going to be a scorching day. Many entrants have looked with dismay at the low river and decided to withdraw. But there are still almost 1,000 prepared to measure themselves against the heat and against their rivals. At low-level bridge, John Edmonds has sprung the surprise. Taking out early at the first weir, he has run along the bank to snatch the lead. Tim Cornish is seconds behind, with Graham Pope Ellis and Danny Biggs both in a position to challenge on the long run to Bishopstow. But Biggs has already lost 4 minutes. Only his Comrades Marathon training can make that up. Brian Fowles and Bruce Wenker lead the doubles, followed by Mike Tocknell and Keith Elliker. The 9-kilometre run from low-level bridge to Campbell's Farm is taken at 4 minutes a kilometre. Back at the Commercial Road weir, the scramble for position takes on an added intensity as the narrow banks funnel boats and paddlers into a shredder. Low water has reduced the number of possible courses. New mown grass turns the steep stone walls into slides. Paddles are broken or lost. As a canoe makes first contact with the rock, the 500-rand craft becomes second-hand. This scraping will punctuate the 3 days, leaving the smell of burning fiberglass on the rocks. At Bishopstow Hill, the leaders are met by their seconds with sponges and buckets of water. John Edmonds clings to his lead. He knows the challenge must come from Biggs and Pope Ellis. Competitors will not see a tarred road again until they reach Durban. Surprising the experts, and even himself a little, as he will later admit, John Edmonds is still out in front, but setting the pace can be hardest of all. Beyond Bishopstowe, the route leaves the road and takes a farm path through Acacia and Thornfelt to Campbell's farm. John Edmonds still leads Biggs and Pope Ellis. Campbell's is the first official checkpoint and watering point. Edmonds leads between the yellow flags. Danny Biggs overtakes Graham Pope Ellis. Tim Cornish runs through the checkpoint with Brian Fowles and Bruce Wenker the leading double. Mike Totnell and Keith Elliker are close behind. The first mixed double, Andre and Daphne Harden. The traffic grows thicker on the path to Campbell's farm as the first of the big batches reaches the end of the long portage. Richard and Colleen Whitten are the second mixed double to Campbell's. Later they will challenge the leaders in this class. Marlene Boshoff leads the four women paddling single canoes. Her partner is Martin Lowenstein. The rule that a woman must be accompanied by an experienced male paddler is intended to protect her in the lonely sections of the valley. Teguan is the first major rapid, and the competitors enjoy the respite from the long portage to Campbell's checkpoint. At the guinea fowl watering point, John Edmonds has a lead of 3 minutes. Steep hills and windless gullies, scattered with fences and boulders, make this one of the toughest sections of the race. Only 30 seconds separates Danny Biggs in second place from Graham Pope Ellis. Fowles and Wenker still lead the doubles from Totnell and Elliker. On the compulsory paddling stretch from Mission Drift to Finger Neck, John Edmonds picks his path through the bony Mission Rapid. Meanwhile, Graham Pope Ellis has elected to run along the bank, which is allowed as long as he remains within 1 boat length of the water. In doing so, he gains valuable seconds and overtakes Danny Biggs. This year, stretches of compulsory paddling were introduced to favour canoeists over runners, to keep the Dusi a canoe race rather than see it become a boat-carrying race.
With the low river conditions, you'll have to paddle, and because I'm so light, it will be to my advantage. I'll actually be able to make up more time on the river than I would if I was portaging. So I'm not really too disappointed. I would have hoped for it. I was hoping for fuller river conditions to actually be able to prove myself as a paddler and not just someone who could bolt along the banks faster than anybody else. But that's the way it goes. You never know with the Dusi. You've got to try and prepare for everything.
Thorns and barbed wire add to the harshness of the guinea fowl portage. The mid-morning sun seems to suck the air from the gullies. Edmonds arrives at Dusi Bridge, only a few hundred meters from the camp, and changes his mind about the channel he wants to take. Biggs is a little more than 3 minutes behind, and Pope Ellis 3 minutes behind that. The overall winner must come from one of these three.
I didn't train as hard this year as I did last year. Last year I trained very hard and I had a very bad race. And this year I've done even less than half the training that I did last year, and I had a really good start and I just had a good day, been lucky.
You were looking strong all the way. Were you feeling good?
Yeah, I was. After that, I had a really good start in the beginning, and then I just decided to just keep it steady, not to try and hold off Danny or Graham if they did close up, just to keep it steady and within myself so that I didn't blow. You know.
There was a lot of paddling today. When it's low, you actually paddle for longer. Although it was a case of getting in and out a lot, so that actually helped. I think Graham might have battled a bit today. I think he ran out of steam a little bit towards the end because of all that hopping in and out. But I think the main thing is now just to try and go as hard as possible and catch John before Mfula Store if possible. Because once he gets on to that last stretch of the Mgeni, I think he's going to be very good. He knows the river very well, he's paddling very well, and he's very fit.
Graham, it's quite a few years since you haven't been leading at the overnight stop. How does it feel?
It's probably time now, Robbie, to have new blood coming in first.
Did you have a good day?
No, bad day today, Robbie. As best as I could have done, there's no excuses. But you just sort of get going, and you hit a rocky patch, and you've got to climb out your boat, and you get back in again, you just get into a nice rhythm again, and you get stuck again, and this is really ever so tiring.
So the change to the rules has not been a good idea this year?
Well, under these conditions, it hasn't been easy at all.
Upstream, the midfielders can only envy those who've already reached camp. Out in the bush, the dust and the rocks seem to be endless.
Did you run out of water?
We did. Ran a little short, got a bit now. You can see the point up there. That gives us a bit of heart. He's doing fine, but I've rather shot my boat.
Very good, Peter.
Marlene Boshoff retains her lead and is the first woman to reach the overnight stop.
Martin's had a bad day today, hasn't he?
Well, I think once you start cramping up, there's nothing you can do. I passed quite a few people being sick on the side. You know, I think the heat got to a lot of people.
Yeah, they're getting dehydrated.
Yeah, I think so. Because I ran out of juice twice, and I've got 2 liters on me. And I had to fill up twice.
You find the conditions bad?
I don't really mind paddling in a low river because I think I get over the rocks quite easier, much easier than the guys do. It's just the portaging was difficult because of the heat. I think it got to everybody.
Martin, you had a bad day today.
Yeah, cramped up a bit, but it's all right.
What do you think caused it?
I'm not sure. You can see over here. It's really boiling up. But tomorrow will be better, hopefully.
The countdown now is to 4 o'clock. Timekeepers and the rocks concede nothing as time runs out. The starter's pistol now brings down the hopes of the stragglers. The overnight tent town begins to take shape as the seconds look after their champions' interests and carry out emergency repairs. Day 2 begins with a low mist in the valley, signaling another hot, dry day. Boats and bodies are prepared for the next stretch. Soon after the start, the Dusi joins the Umgeni River. Perhaps this will bring more water. The leader starts at 7. John Edmonds knows he has no time to waste. He crosses the start line and leaps out to carry around the first bony rapid, obliged to keep within one boat length of the water to comply with the compulsory paddling rule. Danny Biggs, starting barely 3 minutes behind, has more than 3 hours in which to close the gap. Pope Ellis knows the river better than most. A half-minute gained on a known channel, another half-minute on a path, can whittle away Edmonds' slender lead. To save more time, he has decided to go without a spray cover over his cockpit. There will not be enough water to wet the inside of his canoe. The few who have finished within 30 minutes of the leader begin at their elapsed times. After that, the surviving paddlers start in batches of 100. A place gained in the first few hundred meters can mean a clear path or an open river, where a quick turn might be vital in finding the best channel through the rocks. In their eagerness to get going, A and B batch edge forward before the gun, and there is talk of time penalties to add to the intensity of the heat. Edmonds reaches the saddle. He's already shown that he can hold off Biggs and Pope Ellis on land and on water. Before the confluence of the river, Edmonds is still ahead of Biggs. Both are Pietermaritzburg University students and both are farmers' sons, and now they do battle in the rural cultivation of KwaZulu. By Mariani Foley Causeway, Pope Ellis is closing on both Edmonds and Biggs. At the causeway, Biggs is only 45 seconds behind. Edmonds cannot afford to lose any time. Ngumeni Hill is the longest and steepest portage of the second day, and by now Edmonds has opened his lead on Biggs to 2 minutes. But Biggs is still going strongly. Pope Ellis is 90 seconds behind him. He has trimmed Edmonds' lead to 4.5 minutes. Fowles and Wenker still lead the doubles. But Mike Tocknell and Keith Elliker are not going to give up the chase, and the fight for the first double home is far from ended. Tim Cornish has fallen back, holding his 4th place in the singles and 6th place overall. The former British and current Springbok canoeist is heavier than the leaders, which puts him at a disadvantage in the low river. Everybody races his own Dusi, say the veterans. Within the race, every competitor is looking to improve a time or to beat a rival. The challenge helps the body to keep going. For some, mere survival in the thorn bush and the rocks is enough. Ngumeni Hill offers its own special agony, and the watering point offers its own relief. At Marriott's Rapid, John Edmonds still has a 3-minute lead. Pope Ellis, the defending champion, has overtaken Danny Biggs and continues to narrow the gap. In the maze of channels below Umfula, Pope Ellis will make his challenge. His knowledge of the river and his years of experience will give him the time he wants. But the same maze sees Danny Biggs blow up. John Edmonds leads over the Bush Weir, but his cushion has been brought down to 2 minutes and 22 seconds. Pope Ellis elects to carry and loses precious time. Danny Biggs has fallen back by a disastrous 16 minutes. He concedes that he went too hard to catch the leader. Still, he will finish in third position at the second overnight stop at a dip tank behind Edmonds and Pope Ellis. Wenker and Fowles are still the leading doubles pair. Richard and Colleen Whitten came in ahead of Andre and Daphne Harden, who retained their overall lead, and Marlene Boshoff holds on to her lead in the ladies section. The banks of the river become a holiday beach as spectators and seconds tan in the sun. All take to the water to cool off. As the clock approaches 3, there is apprehension for those who have yet to reach the camp. Scores will survive 2 days in the heat and dust, only to lose to the pistol. For some, defeat is only a matter of seconds. Day 3 offers no relief from the heat. Overnight, Edmonds' canoe has been fitted with a short leash, a metre of cord which lies on the foredeck. Unclipped, it enables the paddler to drag his boat downhill. Andre and Daphne Harden cool off with Richard and Colleen Whitten while they await the start. John Edmonds starts the last leg of the race. He believes he can hold Pope Ellis on the water, and the third day is mostly water. But there is also Burma Road, the steepest portage of the whole race. Pope Ellis knows that he needs to gain less than 2.5 minutes to win, a mere 500 meters on the water. It is also the longest day of the 3. Edmonds is 24 years old and Pope Ellis 37. Danny Biggs sets off knowing he'll not be able to catch the leaders and must be content to hold on to third spot. The mass start at 7:30 will decide most of the categories: mixed doubles, veteran, father and son, first woman. John Edmonds paddles towards Kamalo's causeway and scrambles over, followed by Pope Ellis. Fowles and Wenker, with Danny Biggs in close attendance. Mike Tarknell and Keith Elliker are still in there. At Umzanyati Rapid, the order remains the same. As Edmonds approaches the Burma Road takeout, Pope Ellis comes into sight. The gap is barely 2 minutes. Pope Ellis knows that time can be gained or lost here. It's almost his last chance. Edmonds begins to make up seconds again on the Burma Road, but at a price. When he reaches the top of Burma Road, John Edmonds is close to exhaustion. Pope Ellis shows the strain his body is taking. John Edmonds drops his boat and drags it by the leash. While Graham Pope Ellis carries his canoe on the steep run down Burma. When they reach the water again, Edmonds has increased his lead by 1 minute 10. 40 seconds on the run up Burma, 30 seconds on the way down. Wenker and Fowles are the first double at the top of Burma, followed by Danny Biggs. Through choking hyacinth at Kennedy's Drift, Edmonds paddles into view. The hyacinth creates a special hazard for man and canoe. Mzanyati Rapid sees some action. In the late morning heat, Burma Road makes all other portages look easy. A top contender will go up Burma Road in 20 minutes and down in 10, whereas a midfielder might take an hour just to get to the top. The watering point at the top is the only official point on day 3. Jenny Benzel, twin sister of Marlene Boshoff, is paddling in a K1, but she's suffering from tick bite fever, and Burma is almost too much for her.
Thank you.
John Edmonds reaches Blue Lagoon. His total time, 10 hours, 26 minutes, 38 seconds. He is led from start to finish, sometimes by as little as 25 seconds, to become the new Dusi King. The dethroned Graham Pope Ellis is almost 9 minutes behind, with Danny Biggs third.